Hello everyone, welcome to PixelCulture, the best podcast you've ever heard, you just don't know it yet. I'm Mystic, and joining me today,
I'm Hasu.
And we have a few things to talk about today. Pokemon Go has been announced for mobile. A new Pokemon game, but not actually a game.
It's very true. I don't know, I'm not necessarily a big fan of Pokemon, but it is kind of nice to see it getting out on something that's not necessarily the exclusive Nintendo platform of handheld. So that is nice. It's going to bring a whole new fan base in. It's going to be, I don't know, like from what you were telling me off air before the show when we were discussing it, it was kind of nice to hear kind of the ins and outs of what the multiplayer is, and that's when you were saying that it can kind of interact with people that just have the game installed and run it itself. So I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and I think like they're doing it in a good way. It's not just a game. If they can actually do it in a way that they're advertising it as, it looks like you can actually go outside and find Pokemon in the wild, and that's awesome. Like, it encourages you to go outside and like catch Pokemon, and you can interact with other players that have the game as well. So,
right,
I think
that's so Nintendo. That's spitting in an image of Nintendo. I really enjoy the fact that they're keeping their true nature at heart with these mobile games, because that's so Nintendo.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, it's also like different, and then Nintendo's always prided themselves on different, and
guaranteed.
They did say that they were going to focus more on mobile games, and if this is the direction they're going, I think it's the right direction for them.
Well, it looks like the new president is still going to kind of move forward with everything that was going on with Iwata. So,
but I do hope the new president will take the company in a different direction than it was going.
Well, he came out on record and said he was going to continue with at least the I would probably say the 5-year plan of what Nintendo was going with as far as like the NX system and mobile development. So, but obviously we won't be able to know what his real capabilities are until after that planned course. Obviously he can lead it into the fruition, and he could do well with it. Like at least he wouldn't be like Don Matrick with Xbox and just completely screw everything up.
That guy was ridiculous, man. And then he went to what company did he go to, and he was the CEO for once he left?
It was like a mobile game developer or something like that.
But he pulled them out of the shit.
Oh, well, like mobile video gaming is so different than this. Like the pool he left the Xbox One in. Wow. You always hear the reports about Sony kicking the crap out of both the Xbox One and the Wii U. But the Xbox One is still actually doing fairly well. It's doing well. Far better, than the 360 in its current generation of time in its life cycle. So this year with 2.5 years in, or not quite 2 years, right?
Yeah,
2 years.
Yeah,
so just shy of 2 years in, they're doing better with the Xbox One than they did with the 360. So, and I know ultimately in the end with the last generation, it was kind of you pick them, like the PS3. 360 kind of both had an equal amount of sales. I think the Xbox 360 edged it a little bit, but I'm not quite sure. I have a feeling that's kind of the same way that this one's going to turn out, but we won't know for the next 5 years on something like that. But tell you the truth, I enjoy the fact that Microsoft's technically getting crushed, because it drives Microsoft to do things that they wouldn't normally do, and we're benefiting from it. So, it's a win-win for me.
Yeah, we can't complain as far as that goes. Like that's definitely true.
To take nothing away from the PS4. The PS4 is a fantastic machine, and it is on record, on pace to beat its own record in the PS2 as far as the most selling console of all time.
I'm not surprised.
If it gets that title, awesome. I'm totally okay with that.
Sure.
I'll probably have a PS4 by the end of its life cycle. Probably. I did skip out on the PS3, and I never had a PS2 in its actual current life cycle, but I think I will go back and get a PS4 at some point this last year.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have one sooner than later, but I mean, I'm just a fan of gaming in general, so It doesn't really matter what console it is. If a game looks interesting, then I'll do what I need to do to play that game. And right now, Xbox has been leading me
I agree with you wholeheartedly because that's all I have besides my 360. But I've been an Xbox kid since the original Xbox. This seems like the games I play just weren't on the other consoles unless they were like some sort of niche style that were obscure games on that console anyway.
Yeah,
like PS2 was known for its RPGs, but I didn't play any of them because they were all just like, abstract or weird or obscure. And like, I'm wrong, they were fun. I'm sure there were fun ones, but I was a product of a different era when it came to Japanese RPGs. I was a product of an era when they didn't call them Japanese RPGs. They just call them RPGs.
Christopher Nolan is rumored to be producing an Akira movie. This guy did the Dark Knight trilogy, so he's definitely got quite the reputation under his belt. So I think that's definitely a good place to start. He might not be directing it, but he will be involved somehow.
Kind of like a Michael Bay wasn't directing the Turtles movie, but he was involved, right?
Yes, yeah. Akira is hard to explain, but it's pretty much like a it's kind of like an apocalyptic world, Neo-Tokyo, dystopian, and it's a biker gang, and it's kind of got sci-fi elements to it, because it has to do with psychics and weird stuff. It's got a lot of weird imagery in it. Okay. It's hard to explain, but the thing that worries me is because it is a 2,000-page manga.
Oh, wow. So that's the medium that it's on. It's not a video game or any cartoon series, but other than a Japanese comic book series.
It was a manga. They made a movie, an animated movie out of it.
Okay.
But they just made that one animated movie out of that 2,000-page thing. They're wanting to split this into 3 movies.
Well, I would say for one, that would probably work out in your guys' favor.
Yeah.
Because it would make them focus on smaller content for 3 movies. That's always a plus. Like, you could have made most of the Harry Potter books more than 1 movie. Truly. So like the fact that they're making this story as far as like the content involved in this span of 3 movies, I would say that only benefits you. And obviously it's per diem as far as like the first movie has to do well for the second movie to make most likely.
Oh, of course.
I guess I don't know the subject matter, but if I would have to say anything, what you'd have to compare it to is what's already out, and what's already out is awful, and that's the Dragon Ball Z live-action movie. And don't get me wrong, I've watched it. I'm not even a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, didn't really get into the cartoons, but I have watched that live-action movie. There is a charm to it that I do like, but I'm a fan of really bad, dumb movies. There was still a charm to it that I liked, but I can guarantee you that's not something that people are going to want to see here with this one, especially with his history of the new Batman series that just came out that set the freaking tone and standard for all, not only comic book media, but comic book, cartoon, and video game media to come. And that should just be going without saying, because those movies are fantastic. They took what people have been trying to do for the last 25 years and did it.
And did it right.
Yeah.
And we'll see in that, like, having his name behind it will give it steam, but it has to be good. And we don't know if he's going to direct it or if somebody else is going to direct it, so we need to know more information. But this has also been rumored. They've been rumored to do an Akira movie for so long.
Right.
And people have always had mixed feelings on it. But I think this is the right name to have behind it to give it enough of a push to maybe make it work. Okay, Tokyo Game Show just happened. A few of the things that caught my eye: Umbrella Corp's new Resident Evil game, but not in the way you would think.
Well, obviously, technically, you wouldn't even say it's a Resident Evil game if the name of the game is just Umbrella Corps, because at that point it kind of takes the whole zombie Resident Evil out of it, and when it's just kind of being like your mission is to take down people. Like I hadn't heard about it until tonight when we were discussing it, and from what you showed me, it looks awesome. But the fact that it doesn't actually have Resident Evil in the title at all does make me feel like it's not a Resident Evil game, and actually that does feel good that it's not in the title.
It definitely seems like a fresh take, but this is the game that they're backing up for the anniversary.
Well, yeah, and that's fine. They can. I'm not saying they can't make it as Resident Evil-y, or if you want to get real technical, biohazard-y as possible. But you know, it's still one of those things where it feels more like a fresh take on something they have that, you know, they always kind of had that innovative stance in the first place. You know, like the first batch of Resident Evil games, they were awesome, but they were awesome because they were so hard and complex, and you didn't really have that at the time. Yeah. And after a while, things just got to the point where people just didn't like it anymore. Like, they had to change it up. So I think this is just another one of those, like, ventures into the new as far as like a online component, because didn't you say it was an online game? Like, it's just an online
I believe so. That's what it looks like. So, I don't know if it has any kind of story. So
is it like, so there's obviously, I don't know if I want to classify it as an actual MOBA, the actual multiplayer online battle arena, because like there's specific genres that have specific things, that all the games have it, and then there's obviously battle arenas that aren't MOBAs, but they're still just online simulators, like Destiny, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what would it fall into?
I'm not sure. I don't know if they're even like telling everyone that yet. They've just shown that trailer, and I think maybe there's one other trailer out there too. And I don't know if it's given a whole lot of information about it exactly. It just says coming early 2016. It's called this.
And do you know the platforms it's releasing on?
I think it's Xbox One, PS4.
What about PC?
I'm not sure. A few of the other games that kind of jumped out at me is there's an Attack on Titan game that actually looks like they're not rushing it. They're taking their time and figuring out everything. It has kind of like a Spider-Man 2 for PS2 kind of flow to it. Because that's what they do.
Maybe even like a modern day Assassin's Creed type feel. Because that's kind of how it derived, at least in my head.
And I could show you like a crazy little clip of the anime where a guy is like literally spinning through the air with swords like a blade of like a blender. Okay. And they said that if you're good enough, you can do that in this game. And that interests me a lot.
Well, like, I haven't actually watched the show because, like, it's going back to being, like, super picky about the things I watch, especially my
I don't think it would disappoint you.
I really, like, it's the one that's been standing out, and, like, I've been thinking about trying to watch it even well before hearing just about the game and stuff. Like, it's been in the things that I enjoy, so I'm like, well, I should check it out. So eventually I definitely want to check it out. But speaking of anime and speaking of video games, there is going to be an Afro Samurai 2 video game coming out.
Awesome.
I haven't heard much about it other than obviously all the usual platforms. Just current gen, no last gen release, I do believe.
It's a bit delayed though, don't you think?
Well, yeah, because since there hasn't been any Afro Samurai content released, at least as far as like on Spike or in DVD form for a few years now. But the game did well though. The first game, it was a decently done game. So.
You could like cut people like their limbs off.
I guarantee you, it's going to make the list of backwards compatibility.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And another game that stood out actually was Ghost in the Shell Online. It is a combat first-person strategic experience, and it looks insane. The kind of things you can do. Yeah, it kind of resembles Call of Duty, but the world that it's set in is appealing. So I think that's going to kind of draw people in.
It would have to do some stuff as far as like I would say free to play to really get a fan base to.
It looked like that kind of game actually,
because there's so many first-person free to play online games, hence like Counter-Strike, that just have a share of that market. So they're like, don't get me wrong, the name in itself is going to get people interested because Ghost in the Shell is a fairly iconic name in the media as far as anime and cartoons are concerned. And just, again, not to be repetitive, but it's another thing that I've known about but never really watched. So yeah, I definitely think there's going to be interest there, but you know,
it doesn't just look like a game that they just put a a paint job of a well-known name behind it on. It looks like they actually have been working on this for a while and made it what it actually is within the Ghost in the Shell universe.
That's good.
It definitely doesn't look like it has a whole lot to separate itself, especially from the modern Call of Duties that are coming out now.
It would just have, like, you would have to be probably like a Destiny argument. It's like, just play it, and you'll love it. You know, just like kind of like that in a way. You know, that's what it would probably be to me, is that you would have to just play it, and if it just played well, I guess that would make anybody fall in love with the game.
It looks fun, but I mean, a lot of the time it just comes down to time. Like, there's so many games coming out that are going to suck up a lot of time. Like,
this goes back to that idea that usually when it's just an online game, because like I've heard people talking about this before. What's enough for $60?
yeah,
Like, was the Elder Scrolls Online for $60? Was that worth it?
Yeah, considering I played for I don't even know how long, many hours, and didn't even scratch the surface of that game.
I know. I'm just saying, like, but like, so like, would you pay $60 for Ghost in the Shell Online? Would you pay, or something like that? Would you pay $50 for that? $60 for that?
Judging just by the way it looked, it doesn't look like it's going to be a full retail release, but
yeah,
probably not.
But that's the idea, though. So what's worth the $60? So like,
but necessarily, if you want to get into that, then Umbrella Corp's it doesn't necessarily look like it's going to be a full retail release.
But like, what if it actually did come out and it was $60? Would you get upset if that's all it was just an online component for $60?
Sadly, I am a pretty big fan of Resident Evil, and it does intrigue me enough that I probably would buy it for that much. And I think Capcom knows that. But I'm hoping that they won't capitalize on it, because they'll probably make more if they sell it as a digital title for like
dude, free-to-play games make a lot of money because they'll just sell content people want to spend money on. As long as there's no obvious paywalls, which most of the free-to-play games I have been into do not have obvious paywalls, where you can still basically earn all of the content in the game by playing. You don't have to buy anything to progress. You can buy things to progress faster. That's not a paywall. That's how all free-to-plays work.
Alright, moving on to the next thing. Star Fox. They said it was coming out this year. They promised us.
Nintendo promised you a lot of things, man.
And they delayed it.
They delayed Zelda too.
2016.
Yeah.
We knew about that one though.
Well, like, you called that one, but like still, like, the only reason I'm calling, like, I had an idea in my head that, their major franchises were going to get delayed is because they really want to have ammunition for the next generation that they're going to release in consoles. It's not going to force the next generation from PS4 and Xbox One, because trust me, there would be major uproar for that. But
that's gonna take some time.
We got at least 5 years on the shelf for what we got right now as far as hardware.
Oh yeah.
Other than the Wii U.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
However, if they do push back, which I have heard rumors that they want to push back the NX until 2017, that would actually make me feel much better about the Wii U as a whole product, because it's been out since 2012. So it did have the year in advance as far as like PS4, Xbox One, but 2017, that's a good 5 years. That's generally, most generations have been 5 years. This was just the last past generation, and I do believe the second generation that were much longer than 5 years.
God damn it, Nintendo. Give us our Star Fox.
Nintendo. Yeah, like, and that was actually, like, trust me, I have been looking for, like, I should probably buy a brand new one to help out the cause, but I'm not gonna. I've been looking for used Wii U's, and they're still kind of high priced in my opinion, but Star Fox was one of the games that I would have totally threw down like a couple hundred bones on a used Wii U for. And now it's just being delayed, and I guarantee you it's just to meet the NX launch. I guarantee it.
This goes back to something that we were talking about before the show. You want to buy a Wii U, kind of. But Nintendo keeps giving you reasons not to.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Like, don't get me wrong. The new Super Mario Maker looks phenomenal. I know you got it. I know you love it. And it
awesome.
it definitely strikes a chord with my childhood.
Nintendo, they need to pick their battles because they keep they're digging themselves a hole. Like, and I don't know, they have so much money that it doesn't even make a difference anymore. But like, maybe they shouldn't be funneling money like they are.
You know what? It's really actually something I just thought of. It's kind of funny because their amiibos have actually blown up.
I know.
And
they weren't even going to do amiibo.
No, it was an afterthought. You know what? The Skylanders, done by Activision, they were actually...
they went to Nintendo.
Yeah, they were actually at Nintendo proposing that to them first. And Nintendo was like, oh, that's a cute idea. And then told them to hit the bricks. And then obviously now it's one of the bigger franchises in history. However, I have heard, skeet, that Nintendo does have market share over Skylanders.
I did hear that too.
Disney Infinity.
And that's a weird...
It is weird because it's like like stock, just barely going. Like Disney Infinity just launched, obviously, so it was after that. But still, like amiibos have not been out for very long. It was just a couple of years, like less than 2 years.
Yeah. And
they already have market share. And the Skylanders have been out since well into the middle of last generation. So a couple of years longer at least. 2009, 2010, I think the first Skylander stuff was coming out.
Yeah. They've been out for a while because it technically started as a Spyro game, and then it kind of became its own thing. And they were just
Spyro's Spyro's part of it too. Like you can get the Spyro adventures of Skylanders.
The Skylanders version of Spyro, he looks badass. I'm gonna put him in my hands right here. I'm just gonna animate a little Spyro in my hands. But no, he looked badass. But I don't understand why Nintendo doesn't go the way of Disney Infinity and Skylanders and make an open world game like that with all their characters.
Because they don't need to.
They should.
They don't need to. When they come up with niche things that truly do work and they work so well people don't even realize it. Like, dude, the Wii U, don't get me wrong, is an utter failure in the eyes of most gamers. But if you want to get truly technical, if you want to get down to real business, I guarantee you Nintendo probably does not care.
Yeah.
Because they're killing the handheld market like usual.
Of course.
And these amiibos, when they have market share over Activision and Skylanders, what's going to make them care? What's going to make them
grow that even bigger though? Don't you
I
think?
guess, but like it was one of those things where like games I definitely think they should focus on. So like I would say that the fact that they're focusing on hardware means that you're probably not going to see an amiibo world like that because they're focusing on hardware and focusing on something that can most likely still read all that hardware.
And especially since it didn't release coinciding with a game itself, like it doesn't seem like they would take the time to do it now.
Right.
Because everything that's coming out, like Lego Dimensions, that's coming out.
I think that's already been released actually now too. And I totally forgot about Lego jumping into the fucking fold. Like,
that actually is a cool idea. It's random as all hell.
It's still just like, come on, man. Like,
that's a cool idea.
I honestly, even when Skylanders first came out, I was fairly upset about it because it's one of those things where you're just preying on people to spend lots of money to just do the same thing that you would normally do with just a game. They're making you buy the peripheral. They're making you have the portal. They're making you have the game. They're making you have the console, and then new sets keep coming out. It's like,
I think it's just hard to keep everyone's attention now, and everyone's struggling to grab like
I think that's just
thing that's popular.
Product of our own desires. I think at that point, like I'm sorry, like I guess that's always kind of been that way, regardless of what generation you've been at. But like most of the time when people do add-on stuff of any nature like that, it usually flops on its butt. And the Skylanders thing, and subsequently all the figurines, are blowing it up, and I just don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Kids, we were into weird shit when we were kids, man. Pogs.
I hated Pogs.
Really?
I'll never say
I loved the shit out of Pogs.
I liked the things that were on the Pogs. So like I loved my holographic Beavis and Butthead Metal Slammer, but I never played the game because the game was dumb. I'm sorry, the game was stupid.
But just, if you technically think about it, like Amiibo are just like 3-dimensional Pogs. They're on a little thing with a picture.
I know.
Play a game.
Think about it this way. So think about all like the Lego games that have come before, or even like the Avenger games or Marvel games. They're the same thing, just without any of peripheral that you need to have hooked up for any reason at all. So like, why couldn't you just give me a Skylanders game on a disc and I'd play it probably. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wait until Ubisoft gets into the mix and starts making a Rayman set. I guarantee that's probably gonna happen.
I see that happening. Well, for a while, Rayman was rumored to be in Smash Brothers, and there was a
That'd be so cool.
There was a Rayman.
Like I hate Smash Brothers, but I think Rayman would be really cool.
I think it would work.
Oh yeah,
Punches.
I would too.
All right, well, that concludes the part that we're doing with Hasu today. So thanks for joining us, man.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure hearing what you have to say.
I always love enjoy. Or love enjoy. There you go. No, I always enjoy discussing just video games or just like media culture. So it's fun to just come down here and just hang out and bullshit and just talk about stuff we love, man. So
Hell yeah.
I appreciate you having me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'm out.
Hell yeah. All right, we're back. Joining me right now is Stylin. We're gonna be
What do you want me to say?
No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna be talking about Destiny: The Taken King, which came out September 15th. What do you think?
So far, I'm digging it. The most I don't know. The thing that's got me baffled about it is folks like us are like $140 into the game, and anybody can just come and pick right the fuck up where we are for half that, and that's a little discerning. I mean, we I don't know. I guess it's worth it. We played the living shit out of it, but outside of that, gameplay, the new raid, I like it. It's fun. The PvP, I mean, it's changed a few aspects. Kind of bummed about, getting exotics and, that sort of thing, but
It kind of seems like they've made exotics more exotic now, though. They're harder to get, and they're actually more worth it.
no, they're harder to get. That's why I've already got 11 of them.
They definitely streamlined it, so beginners and newcomers will definitely get it a little better. I think they corrected all the problems that it had before as far as the leveling and the light leveling goes.
But where's our restitution?
Yeah, for year one people, they really screwed us. Like, we've put, like you said, $140 into this video game, and anyone that goes and picks up the Taken King version of Destiny for $60
Gets all of it, plus they get bonus stuff.
They technically get more stuff than the year one people did.
I got the emblem because I got all of the achievements out of the first year, and I got an emblem. That's neat and everything, but like I don't get the emblem or shaders and such that the new guys get. Just because they go and pick it up. I'm a collector in video games, and it kind of pisses me off that I bust my ass in the game and I don't get what somebody else, just cause.
And it also sucks that all of our hard work after a year playing this game has all been taken back down below the normal damage cap. So all of our year one stuff is useless.
Yeah.
I still am holding on to it.
Yeah, holding on to it in the event that, something comes about and you can, beef them up and everything. I'm not too worried about, Gallahorn. Gallahorn was well overpowered. It was a fun weapon, and I'm glad that it's not going to be the, if you have a Gallahorn, you beat the game. That's a nice aspect.
They fleshed out more of the characters, like these mystery Vanguard characters that we would always go, talk to in the tower. They actually gave them
Yes, that's another good thing. The more personality with the NPCs.
Better story.
Yeah, much better story. I like Cade's attitude. I like the way he goes about things.
He's voiced by Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion? Really? I do like some of the new exotics, though.
That's true. For the
the Zalo Supercell, I'm actually becoming quite the fan of the Supercell. Arc auto rifle, its stability and everything,
you bastard.
needle point. Really glad that I got I ended up getting an invective at the new damage cap. I'd rather have that than the legacy. Because they gave me the legacy just for like going to the tower after the expansion came out. They're like, oh here.
The legacy exotics are like getting slapped across the face with a dick. Like here's this awesome exotic, but it sucks because it's not as good.
Yeah,
compared
the
to
PlayStation
other
exclusive that you always wanted but you could never have. Here you go. It's useless.
It's pretty much how it goes.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. They fixed all the problems with the leveling and the story. For the most part.
There's one more thing that I noticed. The exotic armors now, instead of, say, the Starfire Protocol used to be a solid intellect exotic chest, and now, depending, I've seen 3 different ones with 3 different stat variations. It makes it a little trickier, but also nicer to balance your character out. If you get the right gear.
And it's not so rude getting multiple of the same exotic that way, because one's better than the other.
Well, aren't you on your 3rd pair of the Impossible machines?
No. Yeah, actually, yes. Yeah, I got 3 of those fucking things.
Boom, like 2 engrams and then 1 out of doing the Nightfall Strike.
Damn. And I've gotten slapped across the face every time. Like, I've done that shit. I'm finally starting to get, like, more powerful drops in 291.
Still have not yet completed the raid, but I do gotta say, they added some nice elements to this one.
It's a little more mystifying.
A little tougher, a little bit. I gotta say the Tombstone, jump to platform maze, whatever you want to call it. That was a really good idea, but it is one of the most frustrating fucking things. There's just miss it once, you gotta go back. Usually takes me about 3 tries to make it across there.
And I've only fought the second boss, so that's all I know about the raid.
As far as I've done.
But I'm like, I didn't even play the first though.
No.
In the beginning.
We were supposed to do that the other day.
I came in. I know. I fell asleep.
You came?
In more ways than one. Yeah. Should give a shout out to Drew and Zombie.
Zombie, Drew, badasses,
Sexy motherfuckers. Shout out to our fire team.
Magical Band Fools.
Still need to officially join that shit.
Yeah,
it's been a year.
I know. For some reason it won't sync up my name, or it won't. Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, I've gotten on the computer and on the Destiny app, and it won't register.
You might want to get a hold of them.
The NBOF.
Alright. Well, that does it for today's show, so thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.